Hi, I'm James Ali Bashir, and you're watching BWTM Live.
BWTM Sports here with Dave Higgins, part of Team Parker. Dave,
good to be here.
Good to see you back in London. Last time we spoke on the telephone, it was all about negotiation. 35%, 35%, 35%. Did you get your 35%?
Look, we got close to it.
Okay.
Close enough to make the fight.
So you were happy at 34.5%, 33%?
Look, I won't be specific, but it was somewhere between 30 and 35, okay, which I think was fair to both parties in the end.
Okay. Do you feel that there's a lot of talk of maybe Team Joshua weren't happy that you were trying to get more money for your fighter, which is what your job is to do, to get more money for your fighter. Do you feel that they're unhappy that you've been asking for more money, or do you think, well, that's your right to ask for that money?
I think it's a negotiation, and their side probably want to pay as little as possible, and our job is to try and maximise the payday for our boxer. It's all a risk-return equation.
Yep.
And I think that our strategy and campaign worked well and increased the value of the event and for both parties. And in the end, thankfully, a compromise was made and unification is going to happen.
Do you think that negotiation, the way you've gone about it, some would say aggressively, some would say untactfully, some would say we've done a good job, mate? Do you think that now you've gone about that, do you think you've done what's necessary to get the job done? Do you think that was the way to do it, or do you think there's another way you could have gone about it?
I think if you take the emotion out of it,
yeah,
we were actually quite factual and strategic in the way we went about it. When this all started 3 months ago or whatever, Joseph Parker didn't have a very high profile in the UK, and a lot of the UK fans, the Joshua fans, thought that Joshua was unbeatable and that Parker would have no hope. And so you can't make a big fight when the UK fans don't know who the opponent is and also think the opponent has no chance. So our job was to give Joseph a bigger profile here, but also highlight Joshua's weaknesses. And so we sort of killed two birds with one stone by talking about his chin. Is it suspect? Has he been dropped? Well, there's evidence that he has. It's on YouTube, anyone can look it up. And so by doing so, and because no one had ever really done that, one, it educated the English fans that there is another world champion from New Zealand who also has a belt named Joseph Parker. A lot of people didn't know that. And second, it highlighted to them that Joshua does have weaknesses. And so it made the fight bigger, because now you've got two guys that are, Joshua's obviously better known, but Joseph's well known, and they now know Joshua's weaknesses, and it's seen as a more competitive fight. And I think Eddie Hearn has acknowledged that it was. I think the result will show that it was the right way to go about things. We've succeeded in making the fight, and we've succeeded in increasing the payday for our boxer.
Was there any doubt you were going to fight Joshua next? There was talks about Tony Bellew, Dillian White, Deontay Wilder, Lucas Brown. Was there any doubt that you want Joshua to fight, or did you think maybe we'll just dangle these other fighters out there, but we still want Joshua?
No, of course there was doubt. We wanted Joshua, but on the right deal. And when the deal, when we didn't consider the deal fair, we would have taken another fight. And there was Povetkin floating around, and Lucas Brown, as you say, and various other options. There was Bryant Jennings of the United States. So we were looking at all the options, but the campaign against Joshua in the media built that fight up to the point that the fans wanted it. It had a lot of media coverage, and in the end, the Joshua side and Eddie compromised and made us a better, fairer offer. And respect to them for that, because talk's cheap. They said they want to unify, and they're proving it. And so, it's exciting for the world and for the fans.
We talked about the YouTube pay-per-view, which was done for the Huey Fury fight. How much of that did you have to compensate for? Because a lot of people felt that it wasn't well publicised, it wasn't well promoted, it was on YouTube, and kind of put Joseph back a step or two promotionally. What did you have to do?
Well, for a start, we were not the promoter of that event.
Right, of course.
We were the visitors, and it was unusually promoted, and it was disappointing that Joseph didn't debut on big TV here. But that's life. It was our mandatory. We had to fight Huey Fury, and we won that fight. And did it set us back a bit in the UK? Probably a bit, because the viewership was probably lower than it could have been. But hey, here we are. Now we're fighting Anthony Joshua in one of the biggest boxing events of the year.
Negotiations. Now we talked about negotiation money-wise. Is there anything now in terms of who comes out first, who walks into the press conference first? Has anything like that you had to deal with as well, or is it just been...
Yeah, look, as you'd expect, it'll be Joshua that comes out for the second for the fight.
Yeah.
Like, the way I see it, because Joshua's got a couple of belts, I say two,
yes.
I'll say three, two of so-called credible belts, maybe three,
yeah.
and Parker's got one. I think Joshua has the right to be perhaps treated as champion, even though they're both champions.
Yeah.
We respect Joshua's achievements, and so we didn't need to argue over things like that.
Right.
We're quite happy for the opportunity, and Joshua had his say on which corner he wanted, and he would walk out second, and Joseph didn't bat an eyelid.
Okay. Any other things like glove sizes, gloves, and stuff like that?
It was all easy. Agree, all straight. Eddie Hearn has been very good to work with, and he's pragmatic and sensible, and behind the scenes, behind the banter, we just get our heads together and work those things out, and there was no deadlocking over things like that.
Reports of Joshua, or people are saying that Joshua is going to be very mean, and he's not going to shake hands with Parker, and you're going to see, he's not happy with all the things that he said about him, and it's been boiling up, and at the press conference you're going to see if Joseph gets out of line that Joshua's going to check him. What do you make of all that from Joshua?
I think that Joshua's showing mental weakness by highlighting 2 months or whatever before the fight that he won't even shake hands no matter what happens. That's a strange thing to say, especially when you carry on about wanting to be respectable like Roger Federer. Can you imagine Roger Federer not shaking his opponent's hand after winning a tennis, Wimbledon or whatever? So what he's saying and how he's behaving aren't quite aligning, and I think that he's mentally rattled, and that's evidence of it.
Now the fight itself, you now will do the press conference tomorrow. What happens after the press conference? Obviously you'll go back and train, but what happens from now? After the press conference?
We'll head off to Sky TV to do some promotional stuff. I'll head back to New Zealand. Joseph Parker and his trainer Kevin Barry will fly back to Las Vegas for their training camp, and then we'll all be back here 2 weeks before March 31.
So you'll spend 2 weeks in the UK to acclimatise. So you won't be coming in the week of the fight or anything like that.
2 weeks here. Yeah.
Okay, and do you have anywhere specific where you think you're going to train, or have you got that planned yet? Or?
Kevin Barry is dealing with that, and I know you chatted to him earlier.
Absolutely. So, so we talked negotiations, promotions. Do you feel now you just come to your press conference there? Why was there not maybe Joshua going to New Zealand and doing the press conference there as well?
We could have done that if we'd had more time, but this is now tight turnaround. Like the guys have to go straight into camp to get prepared for what's going to be an intercontinental event watched by maybe 1 billion people.
Yeah. How do you feel being a part of something like that? Is this the biggest event that you've been a part of as a promoter?
Yes, this is the single. As a one-off event, it's the biggest event I've been part of. Yeah. Obviously, it's a privilege to be part of it. It's hard to describe. I haven't really sunk in yet. I think I'll look back on the event, and I think the event will take its place in New Zealand sporting history as one of the most remarkable achievements. To think it in only just under 5 years, so 4 years, Parker's gone from 0 to unification, and very quickly, and so that's a remarkable achievement in itself. And if he were to beat Anthony Joshua, it will go down in history. And the venue, which can take 80,000 people, is twice as big, nearly twice as big as New Zealand's biggest stadium. So it'll be one of the biggest events New Zealand and Samoan has ever participated in. And so for our small team, at the end of the earth against the odds, being the underdogs, it's quite an achievement.
There's a lot of talk about chins and chins and chins and chins. Yes, Joseph has got a better chin, so you say, and you've said, well, we've proven it over and over again. Do you think if Joseph had got hit by Klitschko with that same punch that Joshua got hit with, Joseph would have got up?
Yeah, I do.
What makes you think?
I do. He might not have gone down.
That's why I'm looking at it.
Well, I don't know. What I do know is that Joseph's 26 years old. He started on the pads when he was 3 years old. He had a long amateur career. And then he's had a professional and many training camps, and he's never been off his feet. Think about that. If you add up all those fights from that early age to now, age 26, he has never been off his feet.
But I know you say that, but in terms of punching power, who would you say he's faced? And you talk about Klitschko and sparring, which sparring and fighting are two different things. I'm sure you appreciate that. Who's the heaviest-handed guy Parker's been hit with in the heavyweight division?
Parker was in camp with Klitschko in Florida and didn't have any trouble.
Right. Okay.
And so he's been in with some heavy hitters. And that's the beauty of boxing. There's a question mark. We're going to find out. Let's look at March 31 as a test.
Yeah. We're
going to find out, who's got the better chin and the bigger punch on March 31, and it'll be fascinating.
Final question: the night, March 31st, Parker's walking to the ring. Biggest fight of his career, biggest fight of his life. Has your man got what it takes to bring the bacon home, as they say? If he is able to take Joshua's punching power, that's one thing. But will he be able to get close and execute the game plan that Kevin Dowry will put into place?
I think so, yes. I think that Joshua's style is perfect for Joseph Parker. We would want him to fight Joshua years ago, and we were chasing it because of the style. And the guy that sort of squares up and walks forward and is there to be hit like Joshua is perfect for Joseph Parker. So it'll be quite an entertaining event for the fans too, because both of them tend to come forward, they look for a knockout, there'll probably be a bit of trading going on, and that's when things like the chin come into play.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
Dave, thank you so much again, and we'll see you
anytime.
March 31st.
Cheers. Thank you,
Quick word to the fans out there.
Hey, thanks for all your support. Without the fans, none of this would be possible.
Dave Higgins, Team Parker.